and welcome to Savepoints, cosmic lessons I've learned about life and myself by playing video games. I'd like to welcome video game enthusiasts, the Planetside community, and fans of sleeping in. My name is GoldVision, and truthfully, although it bothers a lot of people, I really don't mind gluten or any traditional wheat products. Today I'd like to share an experience that has led me to commit to memory a stratagem I've never liked to hear or have been told or have had to engage in. In fact, I preemptively regret making this video as I feel I will have to follow this suggestion, dare become a hypocrite of the satirical poignant advice I'd begun to distribute. This terse statement is none other than man up. If you could kindly permit me to drive this conversation billions of miles away from the close-minded, one-gendered, potentially and most likely chauvinistic nature of the statement, I would like to focus on the context in which it is used. I believe one is required to man up when they find themselves in a situation they committed to but do not wish to engage in, one that has no clear positive direction, yet forward movement must be made. One must man up and engage, carpe diem, tempus fugit, tomato tomato, potato potato. In this particular experience I found myself very confidently scanning the map for a conflict deemed worthy of my incredibly valuable and, to reiterate, non-chauvinistic time. Apparently thinking very highly of myself, I select Xenotech Labs with a minute 15 left before it's captured by the new conglomerate, 4-to-1 ratio of enemies to allies and at least 48 enemies to defeat. Not that I read this. Not a problem for this guy, I smirk and point at myself to myself. Immediately upon arrival, I confidently fly through the force field. On the prowl for a small army I'm heroically convinced I can defeat on my own. I'm shot in the back immediately with a decidedly unstealthy approach and the navigation skills of a factory reset Roomba. I run around in the most confusing pattern a human being is capable of. After stumbling around, Jose Cuervo style, I see no more than 2 enemies and heroically flee back into the safety of the force field. The game's engine having a different idea of how I should survive, that is to die terribly at the hands of a tank whose gun hadn't even loaded yet. Trying to forget all that Latin stuff and preparing to choose a new respawn location absolutely anywhere else, I began searching for a low population zone, Tahitian vacation, or perhaps a quiet mountain cottage at which I could spend the rest of my heroic days avoiding all possible conflict. When Takua Blade finishes healing what was left of my abandoned avatar, my vacation planning cut short, I am prompted to accept or decline buttons that might have very well said, man up, or your character is one of extreme lacking and disappoint. In fact, I would be embarrassed, I am embarrassed to even be this button, that you would even consider this an option, that you are so bereft of will and tenacity that you would abandon the fight you so brazenly sought, and so on. I of course click accept, Takua Blade having not yet upgraded his medical applicator to fully fill my health bar upon resuscitation, and of course with classic come back to life no shields. This time, a much more responsible version of myself decides to stay back and take hold of my surroundings like a normal person thrown into a situation they would otherwise gladly leave. There's my buddy Evening Tide, he's one of the guys who shot me only moments before I was blown up by a tank. Cthulhu the Max, one of the best spawn-based stay-inside guys I would ever meet. And of course there's crazy old Mecha Dragon, whose hilarious hijinks never seem to end, who dies completely unprompted, immediately ending all future hijinks. I move to cover Takua Blade, the monster who brought me back into the Sufferfest, and I get at least a Max and his buddy to step back a second. Takua Blade stands up at the wrong time, turning me into some sort of bad guy, although I prefer to think it was some kind of unfortunate karmic incentive for him to spend 500 surge to max out his applicator. Regardless, and still feeling bad, I take a step back to reload and find myself taking off into the sky, completely unintentionally and due to a lift jet. This time, however, is time to man up, and I move in, this time stealthing, this time fighting the fight I had once smugly selected approximately 1 lifetime ago. I light up a medic who flees, leading my sights onto Liberty Moose, at which point I go from right to left, popping heavy assault AFK Schoolboy Ace 1, and then my original target Lexer. Out of bullets I head back to base, this time not being attacked by my own guys, with whom we all lose the base together. As we're forced out, acknowledging this battle is over and the chances of survival are 0, I encounter and defeat a surprised Sleepy Panda, whose deep introspective stare sings a swan song of peaceful lyric, my general interpretation being, oh, how does one truly know the soft dream of man's dark path? Is it by what he has? Nay. What he wants? No. It is not until he beholds one, a man who knows not what he is, but only who he needs be. Ah, gurgle. As anticipated, I am defeated, this time by a rocket launcher, as any instrument of lesser potency would be likely ineffective against the man I had become. I did not indeed defeat an army, but I did man up. Although we lost the base, which was on its way out anyway, I did not walk away from what I set out to do. I'm better off for it, ego deflated back to regular size. I think I might start actually reading the relative populations on this graph before whimsically throwing myself into conflict, and I'm also 5 certs richer. I used the Artemis Scout Rifle with night vision scope and the NS-44 Commissioner. My name is GoldVision, and I hope you enjoyed this save point.